please welcome our next team, Animus.
Okay, good morning to you all. My name is Alfonso. This is my colleague, Jose. We are Animus, and we have developed a solution for the transportation industry. And we want to start by talking about the problem that we've identified. Now, highway hijacking is causing thousands of companies in Latin America millions of dollars in losses annually. In Colombia, this number is $40 million a year. Now let's take a look at a broader picture and head over to Latin America, where it's costing them $45 billion a year. Now this may seem like a large problem, but it's only a ramification of a much larger problem that involves the driver's security and the innocent lives of people around them. Distracted driving causes around 450,000 deaths and injuries worldwide. And in the United States, a person is either killed or injured by a truck-related incident every 16 minutes. So this is a large problem, and we believe this kind of problem requires a great solution. And we also believe we have that solution. So let's talk about the opportunity we've identified. Through this problem, we want to expedite the commercial activities in transportation companies. We want to reduce the number of cases of merchandise theft in transportation vehicles. And we want to reduce the number of deaths caused by distracted driving. So there's a couple of words I want you to remember when you think of our solution. And those words are security and logistics in motion. And this is because they summarize what our product is. And our product is called Logimus. But what is Logimus? Logimus is an integrated, intelligent, and autonomous system that combines hardware and software entirely developed by us and combines two fundamental technologies. That is, facial recognition through video analytics and inventory control. Now we tie this information to GPS coordinates on a map and deliver them to you in real time. So how does Logimus actually work? Logimus rests inside each vehicle, gathering data from sensors such as camera and inventory control system using our proprietary algorithms, and sends them through the mobile carrier network and delivers them to the cloud so they can be accessed from anywhere in the world. Now, suspicious activity inside the vehicle is going to be sent over to our monitoring stations that will be deployed in each of the companies that we sell our product to. Suspicious activity could be unauthorized drivers being identified inside the vehicle, or a driver that's not putting his eyes on the road or being fatigued. Now, each time merchandise is being put into the vehicle or being taken out, we report that also to our monitoring stations so that companies can be more efficient, since this is something that is really lacking in Colombia and in Latin America in general. Now, we have filed for a patent for this technology, but our real intellectual property lies in our software, in the way that we have combined our skills to develop this product for this specific need. Now, how's the competition doing this? There are a lot of GPS provider companies that have GPS systems already installed on vehicles, and inventory control systems have been around for a pretty long time. This is not where we excel. Now, we want to make driver recognition and video analytics inside the vehicle our main focus, and the opportunity we have to provide these companies with data availability that's in real time, something that the competition is not doing now. So why is our product actually better? In Colombia and in Latin America, they have a solution for the driver control, which consists in biometric fingerprint scanners, which requires constant user input, and they don't actually have a lot of information to make a decision with. Now, with our images and with our face recognition software, we can make smarter decisions. Let's take a look at the market. Now, in Colombia, there are 11 million vehicles that either transport cargo transport people. These could range from buses to taxis or even heavy machinery, and this built an $8 billion market. Now, this is composed of other smaller market segments, out of which we chose the logistics operators to be our main focus, and there's a strategic reason for this. Now, these GPS provider companies are already selling to 60% of these companies with their GPS tracking systems. What we're going to do is we're going to sell our product to these GPS provider companies so that they can provide our service to the clients they already have. And since they have an already well-built distribution channel, we can get our product faster across to our end customer. Now, this is a very large market, but we're going to talk about another market that we've identified. This is taxis. Let's make a comparison. In the United States, there are around 233,000 taxi drivers and around 160,000 Uber drivers. Now, in Colombia, which is an eighth of the size of the United States, there are 800,000 taxi drivers, and they all suffer from the same problem. Let's take a typical day for a taxi driver in Colombia. Now, they have a day shift and a night shift, and normally what happens at night is they either get fatigued or they get sick or something, and they ask a family member to come and take the shift over for them. What happens is they crash, they have an accident, something, and they have all kinds of troubles with the insurance companies. Now, what these taxi companies want is to ensure that the driver is at the driver's seat, only the people that are actually authorized to be driving the vehicle at all times. And we can guarantee that with our product. So what's our business model? We're going to charge our customers per monthly subscription. We have a business model based off this subscription for $60 a month. Now, our customers can pay for the equipment initially, or this value could be divided into monthly fees added to this $60 value, which includes all the video analytics inside the vehicle. But what does it cost us to build this fantastic product? Now, the raw materials are costing us right now in the prototyping stage around $250. Now, we're going to sell this for $350. But make no mistake, this is not where our business model is. We're not going to make money off the hardware sale. We have a subscription-based business model in which it costs us around $8 to maintain the service, and we're going to sell it for $60. So based off of this is where we're going to make our projections. Now, we've projected to make $800,000 of revenue on our first year, out of which we'll make $500,000 in net income. And we'll do this by capturing 10% of our target market in Colombia. But it's all about year one in the end. It's all about our startup costs. So what do we need to get started? To get operational, we need to raise $30,500, which we're going to spend in a period of 6 months, and we're going to do it the following way. We need to hire one technician and 2 engineers. We need facilities for these engineers to work at. Now, our product needs to be compact, and all the circuitry needs to be inside a box, which we're going to deliver the product in. And it needs to look awesome. So that's what our product designer is going to do. And last but not least, we need the money to buy raw materials to make 20 commercial demos at 20 different companies, which will serve as our pilot companies to, once we get operational, start selling to these companies. Now, this is where our projections start making sense. Now, even though our product is in prototyping stage, we have actually already made our first sale to a major distributor of water and sewage systems in Barranquilla. Now, this is a dredger, and they had a very specific need. They wanted to ensure that because this is a machine that costs millions of dollars, they wanted to ensure that the driver was actually operating it like it should and was operating at the times in which he should be operating. So they are thrilled that we have installed our face recognition system to have this driver controlled at all times. So this is Logimus, but you'd probably like to know a little more about us. Now, my name is Alfonso Quijano and my colleague Jose Gomez. We're both electronic engineers from Universidad del Norte in Colombia, and we've known each other since semester 1. And we've worked passionately on this project for almost 2 years. Now, we're working together with 2 great engineers, and each experts in their fields of study. One with worldwide recognition in his work for video analytics, from Google and Microsoft. And together, we think we have developed a product that can make a very successful business. And we want to get, with this product, not only to every country, but to every single place that's suffering from highway hijacking and distracted driving, and save lives and help companies save considerable amount of money. So thank you, and if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to address them.
Thank you for a very nice presentation and fascinating product. I'm thinking of the driver, and so how does it look to the driver? So where does it install in the vehicle? And also, how does the driver respond to it? Does it feel invasive, or do I feel safer because it's part of the equipment?
Okay, so first, the driver has no need to know that the technology is doing what it's doing. I mean, he's going to see the camera because it's going to be visible. We're not going to say we have a microchip camera installed in the vehicle. But this is a non-intrusive technology that we intend to capture images at random times in the day or by triggers, and the driver has no need to know what's going on. Okay? The camera is going to be placed near the rear view mirror, strategically placed depending on the vehicle. But so far, we found that the best place was in that spot. Okay, so yes, to summarize, that's the answer.
And help me make the connection. How does this help with the carjacking? It's too late for the driver? I wasn't sure.
Okay, so highway hijacking happens actually in 10 different ways. And what happens is that one of the most basic ways are just simple theft. I mean, they go up to the driver and they put a gun to his face, or you know, some way to actually take the vehicle from him. Now, the triggers that we have installed with our software are going to capture an image of what's going on at that moment. We're not saying we're going to prevent the event from actually happening. We're giving tools to these companies to make smarter decisions when it's happening and help dismantle these bandits that are actually very smart, and they're always like evolving with the ways there are right now to fight this this crime. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Great presentation, thank you. Are you inventing a new face recognition technology, or are you using existing ones that you are improving? And if it's a new one, any IP protection? Second question, if I may. Going back to your startup cost, can you elaborate those a little bit? Because you have presented them as they are startups taking you to market, but maybe I just missed it, but I haven't seen any marketing and actual business development cost associated with your startup cost. So if you could talk about that a little bit, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So, let's see. The first question, can you repeat the first question? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Are you writing a new technology for face recognition, or are you using something that exists, or improve? What's so cool about you, and why should I invest?
Okay, so we're not developing a new way to recognize faces. I mean, there's already some very nice methods to actually have face recognition. That's not where we excel. Now, we have a patent filed for the actual system that solves a specific need. Okay, so what we're telling our customers is they should buy our product because we are a very modular system that can evolve depending on those needs that I have identified. And that's where the patent is going to cover us in, well, that's what the patent is actually covering, okay? So we're not saying that our face recognition system is going to be better than the competition, because in the end, what it's going to do is recognize faces and identify and be triggered by the triggers that we have set out on the vehicle. So, okay, let's move on to the So, we have already invested an amount of money in the company. That's, in detail, that's because of our skills and our development, and the time that we have invested in developing the technology. Okay, so we're not including this. This is the costs that we require to get to those other customers with the commercial demos. That's basically that last part, which is crucial. We want to use the prototypes that we are developing in that stage to help those customers see us, because this is not a product that you could sell in retail. This is not a product that you can just put out there and have them buy it. They need to understand it. They need to see it. This is what the commercial demos are for, and this is basically how we advertise the product. And those 20 companies are actually 20 companies already associated with us in some way in this stage, and all the stages that we've done to get this far. We've done the associations with these companies to know that they would gladly receive our product.
If you think about your market, you're kind of targeting trucks that are owned by companies themselves, you know, whoever they are. How would you target the drivers that own their own tractors and are driving their own vehicles versus a company-owned truck? I'm not sure what the percentages are, but how would you get those owner-operators interested in having to use your product also?
Okay. So how it works in Colombia is, and in Latin America, these big companies, they don't own their own trucks. They don't. They hire a third party to have these the merchandise delivered for them. Now, this third party can either have the vehicles bought for the drivers, or the drivers can have their own vehicles. But in any case, there's like a cultural and technology. There's a technology based culture for those companies that require these companies to have technology on the vehicles. Now, this isn't only something that we're saying. There is actually laws being passed in Colombia that require vehicles such as those to have tracking systems installed. And this is evolving every day. I mean, these trucks, these companies are, a large portion of these companies have a lot of money to invest in technology because of these requirements by the country. So this is how we say we're going to target these markets, because it's actually a requirement.
What are you doing to address any possible security concerns of the very folks that you're trying to prevent getting access to your data that's in the cloud and using that to target specific operations?
Okay, so it's known that they are hackers, software hackers that can access our information from the cloud while it's being transmitted over mobile carrier network. Now, this data is going to include pictures from the drivers and the merchandise that's being sent in every vehicle. But right now, this isn't something different. That's not something different from what's actually happening right now. I mean, if the company has any type of inventory control systems at site, these hackers can actually be accessing the information from anywhere. So basically what we're saying is that this information that's being sent out is not a threat to the driver itself. In the end, this information is actually trying to get these bandits, or get these people that are trying to commit the crime against the vehicle and the companies to stop doing what they're doing, because they have a much greater chance of being caught. They have a much greater chance of exposing themselves, which is why the GPS technology was actually installed in the first place. And there are figures that say that highway banditry has actually been reduced since the time that those GPS systems have been installed. And knowing the location of the vehicle being sent through the mobile carrier network, which is actually happening right now, hasn't caused a greater threat for the drivers right now. So,
what's to prevent? I mean, you've got this camera. What's to prevent just someone from putting like a blanket or something over it? Isn't it easily defeated?
okay, the camera is made to get any. It's intelligent in the way that once there is any type of suspicious activity, it'll send an image. And this suspicious activity could be opening the doors of the car or getting off in a place where they're not supposed to get off, basically because one of the ways in which highway banditry presents itself. For example, when in Colombia there are police, let's say police stations that are anywhere on the road, and those have to be reported before they actually happen. So sometimes the bandits disguise themselves as policemen, and they set up a fake police station. So if they were to try to cover up the camera with a blanket or try to do anything, they first have to trigger any one of the triggers that actually make the camera take the picture. So maybe you don't have an image of what's going on, but suspicious activity has already been alerted that something is happening at a place where it's not supposed to. So these companies can take action. What other companies are doing is that they basically have it's called a panic button. So if they see that anything suspicious is going on, they just press the button, and the monitoring stations are alerted. But the bandits already know this, and if they see any type of trigger happening, or the driver moving at any moment, they're probably putting his life at risk. So we're trying to move the driver away from having to interact with anything in the vehicle and letting the technology, do its thing.
And have you considered, I know GM has, I think in their OnStar product, has like remote kill switches for vehicles. Have you thought about trying to incorporate that in there?
That exists. I mean, in the GPS tracking solutions that are right now, they can turn off the vehicle at any moment. But we did think about the risks that implies. I mean, if we were to say that the technology might turn the vehicle off on its own and the driver was actually on the road, that would the hydraulics and the steering wheel would actually stop working, and I mean, that could be dangerous to the driver. So,
Agreed.
yeah. So we're trying to stay away from that to avoid any legal issues and security concerns with the driver.
And actually, I'm just looking at your numbers here, because this is actually one of the questions. So 2 engineers and a technician cost $14,000.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. That's pretty sad. In Colombia, a nice wage for an engineer, which we don't need to. We don't need the engineer to have a PhD. We already have that. We have like the strong part of the engineering team already set up. We need engineers to help us work on maintaining the product and further developing certain parts of the product to get the product out to market faster. And a nice wage for these engineers is actually in this range.
Okay.
I'm sorry that it doesn't appear like it's so, but it is.
Okay. So you have time for questions? Okay. Several of these have already been asked. Okay, why would taxi operators buy your technology? Isn't a simple camera enough to identify the driver?
Okay, a camera can identify the driver, but then they would have somebody at the monitoring stations in their companies having to look at basically a white list of the authorized drivers and having to check at, many times a day if that person is actually the one that's supposed to be driving. And they don't get any notifications at all. Let's say they have 2,000 taxis. Are you going to check through every single one of them? And there's a company PepsiCo that's actually doing this, like right now, like how I described it. They have manual inspection of the driver, and they approached a company which we have an alliance with, and they asked them, hey, do you have a face recognition system that allows us to make this process faster and more efficient? And they said, no, but we know a company that's doing this, that's us. So,
Thank you very much.